Alright, so while this rotary sander here is winding down a second, I figured I'd show you what I got going on here. So this here is the backbone that I was talking about yesterday. And this piece here is gonna go back behind the wedge. I'll get you guys aimed on over there. There we go. If you're wondering what that noise is, a little shield down bottom, a deflector, I guess you could call it. And well, in Harbor Freight fashion, it's made of plastic. And the sparks apparently were getting hot enough to where it melted. So now it's making continuous contact with the sanding wheel. But, so here we are. I'll have to tighten that up just a smidge. And I think we're gonna be good. So right now, because the wood is doing this, there's all the weight on it. There's a separation here, I'll show you. All right, so yeah, you can see the separation back there behind the wedge. And again, that's gonna close up when I actually get to welding it and finishing that part up. Now, obviously these two tabs that are sticking out are gonna be cut off flush, and that will all be welded all the way around. Make sure we keep that sucker in there. So, what I'm gonna be doing here, it's gonna be a 4-way, and it's gonna be set up so that, you know, when you drop it down a certain amount, the side splitter wedges are gonna sit down just below the I-beam there, or H-beam, and it's gonna allow the top part to stick up. I think it's gonna be like an 8-inch splitting, a single or a 2-way wedge. So I'll have a 2-way and a 4-way all in one. Well, I'll tell you one thing that is annoying me, my beard. Every time I go to lift up my welding helmet, I catch a big thumbful of beard. welds look like. Usually about that. Not great, but not terrible. My termination over here I'm a little disappointed with. Usually I round that up pretty good. But that's what my welds usually look like. I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe it's because I'm lazy and I'm not taking off the mill scale. Now, so that being said, I have been lazy, okay? Typically, you know, you really should be taking your sanding wheel and sanding off the mill scale to make your surfaces as clean and conductive as possible for the welding process. Now, I've welded over mill scale before and had better results. However, I don't know, maybe the steel plant that this stuff came from, maybe they had something in their building or in their process that was a little bit of a contamination. I don't know, but not making any more excuses. Like I said, these are turning out better than the ones I started with. That's what I normally do. I'm not one of those guys who can weld upside down and inside out and do all that. So usually, you know, in these positions is where I like to be when I weld, because it's just ergonomically easier. And with my medicine ball here, it doesn't exactly make my lower back feel so hot when I do this stuff, but yeah. So anywho, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So today I've been kind of slacking a little bit. You know, I did some work on the wedge for the backbone and everything, and kind of had to walk away from that part of the project. Everything that I've been doing today has all been related to the splitter project. However, you know, I'm kind of at a standstill with the wedge subject because it's pretty much where it's going to get to at this point. I can still drill some more holes, and I'm probably going to get to that probably later this week. I can do things like that when the sun's down and, you know, other things are still in the garage. So I'll hold that off for a rainy day project, which of course I don't really see much rain in the up and coming forecast. So you know what I'm getting at. But yeah, everything today has been based on the splitter. We just got back from Tractor Supply, kind of looking around in there to see any hub conversions, or how can I say, the splitter that I have has the spindle, and of course it's rigid mounted to the hydraulic tank, and I'm at some point going to be popping that wheel off of there and using my measurement instrument to determine whether it's an 1/16" hub. If it is, the kit that is at Tractor Supply is exactly what I'm going to need to convert it from just a spindle to a hub with a 5-lug pattern. So that way I can go up in wheel size. I'm trying not to do all of my, I'm going to be elevating the beam on this machine. That way it's at a more suitable height for somebody my height, which is, you know, around 6 foot tall. So I want to kind of divide the the way I get, how can I say, to get the height, to get that ending result, I don't want it to all be hard steel, right? I want to come up with wheel size and then, you know, make up the difference with some steel, all right? That's what I did over at Tractor Supply today, kind of looking around. Plus, I picked up another set of these horses here. Yeah, these are the version of the other ones that they had. But these came in a little bit cheaper for whatever reason. They still have the same weight rating, so I don't care what color they are, to be honest. But before I get too much further into the next stage, which is what I'm going to be working on with this 3/8 steel. But first, most and more importantly, is well, no, I'm not having pizza. I had pizza yesterday. However, I'm going to use this cardboard here to make me some patterns. Now, what I'm hoping to do is get some patterns for making the brackets, the mounting hardware for the log lift. Now, I don't know if I mentioned earlier in the video that I was going to be, you know, trying to do a log lift, but that is the goal. So I need to get myself a piece of cardboard here that is going to be easier to work with. So if you guys stick around, I'll come back to you after I get this cardboard fashioned in such a way that's going to make it easier for me to turn it into something useful. All right, so I got to kind of do this all over again. I came over here to shut the camera down for reasons and realized that I must have got a text message or something, and the camera aborted recording. So what I did here was I measured in the distance, okay? That way I can, you know, have some nice strong welds in here. Of course, that's strong welds is in the eye of the person who's watching. So, anywho, so I got it to this point, trying to make decisions as to how I want it to work out. Do I want to have a smooth transition from the log lift into the splitting chamber, or do I want to have like a little bit of a bump there, like a wheel chock, so to speak, type of transition? That way unwanted rounds don't enter into the splitting chamber before I'm ready for them to. So that's one thing that brute force did do that I did see the benefit. You know, it's inconvenient for some reasons, but it was really convenient for that particular situation, knowing that a log round's not going to come tearing down into your splitting chamber before you're ready. So I still have to figure all that out. This is all kind of part of it, seeing, you know, what shapes I can work with, and I'll finally commit to one. But while I'm trying to make up my mind on that, I'm going to let you guys just kind of go back to what you're doing for a few minutes, and I don't want to bore you in my head scratching. All right, everybody. So this is what I've come up with so far. I know this might not look familiar to you necessarily, and how I'm going to go about that, but I will expand on that in just a moment. So at this point right now, I'm just trying to lay this out on the steel. I want to try to get a good idea of how much I can get away with as far as you know, saving as much room as I can by maybe inverting this pattern. in a way that I'm not going to use more of this steel plate than unnecessary. I like to try to be a little bit conservative here on the usage. So I right, coming out decent. So the part I'm actually going to be cutting out is not actually going to have this round part on it. I'm actually, the shape is actually going to be different. However, I want that pattern to be on there just because this line here is actually going to be the actual shape of the upper part of this pattern, this black line here. Because, I'll show you now. So this is actually what I'm going to be using for the hinge. Now, this is not like my idea, okay? I did see a video a while back, and the guy built a pretty awesome splitter, very beefy, and he used these for the attachment point of the log lift. And I mean, you're not breaking that. You're definitely not going to break that. So, and for as long as they work on tractors, I imagine on something like a log lift, that's going to be easy peasy for that thing. So, aside from maybe spraying some WD-40 in there on occasion to, you know, keep it lubed up and moving good, it should work out real well. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be using, and that is going to be in here. Obviously, this piece here is depicting some angle steel. And I say angle steel, not angle iron, because this here is what a lot of people would probably call angle iron. I don't call it angle iron because this was bent in a break, okay? And it just gives it a cleaner look. Angle iron just kind of looks primitive and, I don't know, roughly manufactured. So that's going to go here, right? And there's going to be another one of these brackets somewhere up in this area. I don't know if my finger's out of the view of the camera, but you know, 18 inches away, 16 inches away, somewhere around there, away from this one. So, and that is going to bridge between the two. And this is going to be the keeper at the side of the splitting chamber to keep the log from rolling off the beam and out of the chamber. It's also, I think, going to as well keep the log from prematurely rolling from the log lift into the splitting chamber. Now, I was talking about before whether I was going to design it that way or not, and I had chose to go this route just because it is. It's convenient. It's very convenient to know that you're not going to have a log come careening down into your splitting chamber before you're ready for it. It does make it a little bit harder to manipulate logs. Your flat space on the top of the beam is not as big and easy to kind of maneuver logs around. But I chose to go this route. Whether I'm going to regret it or not, we will find out. So what I was saying before, what I'm trying to do here is find a way to make this as least wasteful as possible. And I think that's precisely what that's doing there. So I'm going to trace that side out, and I'll be back with you guys in just a few minutes. So let's see where we are here. So there's a major flaw in this bracket design. I want to see how many of you guys catch on. Let me know down in the comments down below if you guys see what I'm talking about. This is definitely not going to work. Time for a redo. The most important part is making sure that I've got room, to weld everything in place. That don't look too bad. It's a little short on top. I think I should have left the white line instead of taking it off, but really, the grand scheme of things, this is gonna work out just fine. Now, you might remember, this is not gonna be the angle iron I use, but I'm gonna be using angle iron, a larger angle iron to put on top of here, to use as like a cradle. And I think it's gonna work out pretty darn good. So, now that's here. Now further down here, somewhere, I think somewhere around here is where, somewhere on that plate, close to the end where the weldment is here on the back, somewhere around this area, I think, is where that's gonna be. So you could see this sticking out here. I gotta take that much off the back so that, yeah, it's gonna be probably 3/4 of an inch. I forgot because I have that spacer plate also that I put on before the outer plate. So yeah, that's where it's gonna be. It's looking pretty good so far. And let's take a look at this other one here. I know they're going to be very similar. Yep. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Yep. Pretty much the same, which is good. That's what I want. And yeah. Now, mind you, these are for the log lift. On the other side, I'm gonna have something over there, basically, kind of sort of a tray / cradle piece. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go as crazy, making a fancy part like this for that side, largely because it's not gonna be holding, 100-pound rounds. It's basically just going to be there to help me prevent it from rolling off the other side. So still kind of undecided on that. I'm going to have to think on it a little bit and Yeah, everything's coming along real good. Real good. All right, everybody, so that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys are liking how much of the project I'm fitting into each video. If you could, comment down below, let me know how you guys feel about it. I know there's a lot of music and stuff, but editing can be rough sometimes with all the noise in the background. I'm not the only one here, so yeah, just hit me up in the comments. If you could, hit that. All right, so before I was rudely interrupted by the voice-activated air compressor, if you could, subscribe, hit that like button, and share it with your friends. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.